Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Tips and Tricks Tuesday, and as you remember last Tuesday we did this lovely lady's skin. This is a Chinese book and I cannot pronounce any of it, and I don't actually have the book. I have a PDF. I have actually ordered the book as well because yeah, it's so pretty. So I have that book coming, but it won't be here for quite some time. And I did not order it this month. I ordered it last month. This month we are doing a hashtag no buy in July. So I'm not buying anything this month. Everything that is coming this month, that will be coming in this month into next month, has been purchased previously. Just want to throw that out there. Welcome, of course, to all of our new subscribers. I do appreciate you subscribing, and I thank you all very, very much. Today, we're going to be working on her hair. And a friend of mine, Colorfully Optimistic, has given me some instructions on how to do black hair. Um, so we're going to try her way of doing it. I did do a test page, and I'll show you the test page. Um, my husband said it looked good, so I always trust my husband. So this is what we're going to do for the hair. Now, I can't do that with Prismas because they're too squishy and they don't hold a fine enough point to do the strands of hair. So we will not be doing this in the Prisma pencils as we did the skin. I know that's kind of not fun, but if you can do this with Prismas, let me know. Um, I'm going to show you a technique on how to do it. Of course, you can try this with any type of pencils, as long as you use a black, some grays, and some blues. You should be able to pretty much do this with any set of pencils. So the first thing that we're going to lay down is a very white gray. I'm using the luminance. This one is number 2, which is a silver gray. And I'm just going to go over the entire picture with it. Now you're going to be able to see this a lot easier on this tanned tone paper than if I was to do this on white paper. So I'm kind of glad I did this on the tan toned. And I'm just going over all of the hair areas. And this is your base coat. So this is where you want to start. I'm going to keep you on the full camera so that you get a better idea of the technique as well as the coverage. Now this is going to take a little bit of time, and I probably should have put the base coat down already, but I didn't. So I may not do the entire head depending upon how much time it takes to do an area. So I'll start with this area, and I'll just do an entire coating on this area. And we'll work in bits and pieces. Okay. So as you can see, it looks very white on this tan tone paper, which is great. Kind of what we need. Now I'm going to take a medium gray. So this is a Faber-Castell, and it's cold gray number 3. And I'm going to start with the flicks into the areas that I know are going to be lighter. And you just flick. Don't scrub, don't color the whole area. Just flicks so that you can see the hair strands. Now I don't know if this is exactly what she meant by it, but that's what the way I took it and how I practiced it. So I don't do hair a lot. Well, I do hair, I'm not confident in it. So that's why I asked for advice, especially black hair. I'm really good at brown hair and blonde hair. Not terrific with black hair. So this is a fairly nice darker gray with a bit of a blue tint to it, which you will see later why we need that blue tint. Okay, so I've got those flicks down. Now we're going to move on to the next gray, and we're just going to stay in some of the darker areas that we're going to be turning into black. Once again, just flicking, filling in that space. I'm going to turn it here for just a second so I can get into these areas. Trying to stay in the motion of the hair. I don't want to flick in the wrong direction, otherwise it's going to look wrong. And one of the things that I have learned along the way is that if you turn your page and instead of turning your hand, for me anyway, I find that I have more control over where those flicks and things are going. Just trying to avoid the jewelry here, but still get to the hair. Alright. And we may come back with some more of that in a little bit. Now we've got our black. And I'm going right down to where her hair meets her skin. And I'm going right into where the light source is, where the light is hitting. I need to sharpen my pencil again. Try to keep a fairly good point on your pencil. And moving from the inside where the shadow is, and it's just flick, 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 flick. This area here, I'm going to go a little bit scrubby just to get that line in under her bow. So and I'm just going to flick from that line. And again here where the flowers are, and my hand is probably in your guys' way. Yeah, I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera. Maybe then it won't be in the way. I know it looks a little messy right now. but it will come together. I sat there last night going, oh, this looks terrible, but in the end it did come all together. So I'm just putting in the preliminary black areas. It's not as black as it's going to get. It is going to get darker. Alright, and then we're going to take this one, and this is dark indigo from my Faber-Castells, and I'm just going to go into all of that black that I just put down. And I'm extending that into the white areas as well. This area here around the bubbles I'm just coloring in. Just little flicks. Sorry about that, guys. Don't know who that was, but they can call back later. The joys of 1-800 numbers. Most people know not to call me at this time of the day, but balloon solicitors don't care. Alright. So once again, just flicks. Just little flicks. Putting in those hair strands. If you don't do it in little flicks, you will find that your hair looks very flat, which is fine. There are some situations where I actually want it to look that way, so I will color the entire thing so that the hair looks flat. This is not one of those times because the artist has lovingly put in so many of the hair strands for you to follow. Now I think this is a part of her hair here as well. Let me know if I'm off camera. Well, I guess you can't let me know if I'm off camera. So used to doing these types of things live so that, I have no chance of fixing my mistakes. Or happy accidents, I should call them, because there is no mistakes. Alright, now I'm going to go in with another blue, and this is indanthrene blue. I don't know how to pronounce that. Number 247 in the Faber-Castells. And the reason why I'm using the Caran d'Ache and the Faber-Castells is because they hold a much better point. So it's a lot easier to get a longer flick for a longer period of time. And they seem to blend really well together. So, like I said, you don't have to use these pencils. So if you don't have these pencils, take a gray blue, a very dark gray blue, a steely blue, and the indanthrene blue. There's lots of different sets with this blue. It's a fairly bright blue. Let's see if I can find something to show you what color blue it is. Okay, so this is the color of blue. It's almost a black kind of blue, but it's still got that blue in it. The other one that I used is this one here, which is almost a black color. So if you have the Faber-Castells, you can pull them out and see the two different blues that I'm using. And this one here, I'm taking right down into that lighter area. And once again, just flicks. Starting at the deepest area of the hair, which is at the bow here, and flicking down. Down here where it's really close to the flowers, you can fill it in and then flick from there. Once we get down here with the black, I will smooth it out into more of a flicky type of hair. Because we are going to go back into it with the black. And basically it's a layering necessity to get the different levels of hair strands in. Because if you look at your hair, especially if you have black hair, you may have a red excuse me, a red tinge to it, or you may have a blue tinge to it. It all depends upon your undertone of your hair. My dad, who has black hair, has a gray tinge to it now, but before he started going gray, of course, he had a bit of a red tinge under it. So my hair, which is auburn, or really, really dark brown, but it has a lot of red undertones in it. Depending upon how much sun I get in the summer is really what depends upon what color my hair is. Because if I get lots of sun in the summer, it goes really light. If I don't get lots of sun in the summer, then it stays the same. Just filling in with flicks the areas that I want to be very dark black, because I'm going back in now with the black. Like I said, it's just a matter of building that color up. Start with your lightest color and build the color up. Yes, I could have started and just did the three dark colors and added the lighter color later, but that highlight would not have looked natural, and we want it to look fairly natural. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to move it off screen for you. The only thing with doing hair this way is it's time consuming. And you end up getting really particular sometimes on whether or not it's the right tone, whether or not it's the right amount of blue, whether it's the right amount of black, whether it's the right amount of gray. Alright, now I need this one. And because it's just little tiny flicks, it takes a lot longer than if I was to just color the whole thing black and put in a streak of the lighter color on the highlighted areas. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of this dark gray, and I'm just going to put a couple of little strokes in here. Just in those areas that I want those highlights to be. And then we'll go back into it with the black, and we'll finish it off with this. The only thing with doing them with the luminance pencils is they are a little bit harder than the Prismas, so they do last a little bit longer with it. But I'm finding that the tip is getting a little short again. Not getting that fine tip. So I might have to grab my and just sharpen the tip. There we go. I just used my Cume handheld sharpener and actually didn't break the pencil, which is amazing for me. Just following those lines. I'm trying to make sure that all the darker areas are in the curve down of her hair. That where it curves up and crowns, it has the light hitting it. And I could sit here and fuss with hair for hours just to get it perfect. And what adding the gray has done is it's toned down my black on some strands, so it gives it that natural look. Keep on going out of screen on you. I'm really sorry, guys. So I'm just going back in one more time with the dark dark indigo. Just making sure that I get a good base and a good layering of colors. And not leaving too much of the white spot. Alright, so now let's switch over to the other camera so you can take a look and see what we've done so far. So as you can see, the hair is still going from top to bottom. However, there's a light source there from the light hitting her on the face. This artist has left the areas where your light sources are going to be shining on her hair. So if you just follow her hair and follow the directions of her hair, you will find that where your light sources are. So now we're going to, I think, do this part over here. Let's see. It's difficult sometimes when you have a lot of things in the way. Like these jewelry. I think I missed a piece of hair there. Yeah, I think that's it. Then we'll take the medium. That area there I'm not too concerned about because I'm just going to color it in hard black. So when you're going around different areas and different things that are definitely going to be darker, you don't have to worry too much about the flicks as you would if you weren't just filling in areas. Like I said, this area here is very, very small. So I'm just putting ticks in little areas. Just to give that illusion of the hair. Then we need the black. And then in these small, small areas, I'm just, until it reaches her forehead, just filling it in. Using that black just to fill it in. Trying really hard not to color over things. And then you start flicking out here. This is really hard not to color over things. There's so many little parts. I'm going to sharpen the pencil again. Switch you over. Maybe I'll switch you over to the other camera here. And I gotta move things around. so you can see where I'm working. Alright, so we're just going to do little flicks from here. And down from here. Get that black into its crevices. And then we're going to take the blue extend it up into the white. And then we're going to go back into the black. Now this area here is very small, so it's probably not going to be reflecting as much of the light. So I'm not putting in as much of the blue. And trying not to cover over the bubbles. I don't know the name of this artist, but she is definitely, or he or she, can definitely draw. Fantastic work. This book can be found on Etsy. I think it's Masquerade Costumes is what it's called. There was a couple of different ones, but the thumbnail for this video has the actual look of the cover of the book on it. So if you do want to look for the book, look on Etsy and see if you can find that cover. Like I said, it is a Chinese book or Japanese, so it's a little bit difficult to look for it by name. Though, like I said, it's a masquerade or costumes attire type of book. Alright, so there's our second piece of the hair done. Now once again we're going to do the same thing here with our silver white. I'm just going to cover everything. Yeah. Now because we want that hair strand in there, I don't think I'm going to burnish it or blend it. I could definitely do that if I wanted it to be really, really shiny. And if I find that I don't like the look of it once it's all done, I may still end up burnishing it. So I won't say that I'm not going to. I'm just going to say for now I'm not going to. So I'm just going in with that medium gray now. Extending the shadows into the white. And I'm not being particular because this part really does get um, covered up quite a bit. So I'm not being overly particular. Just basically putting in the shadows of her ornamentation here. Of her crowning glory and her different barrettes and all her bubbles. I'm just doing all her bubbles. Now we need the darker one. And this is where I start doing more flicks. Because I want room for that black to get in there. And I think I need a sip of coffee. Alright. As soon as I'm done with this pencil, I'm going to take a sip of coffee and we'll take a look at it on the overhead and see how it's doing so far. So I'm going to switch on over to the overhead camera here. So far I think it's looking pretty good. Okay, so back over to the close-up. You can look at her eye. Alright, so down here we're trying to keep in the same direction as the rest of the hair because we've still got more hair here. And this hair curves. So we're trying to stay in that curvature of the hair. So try to make sure that you remember that this is not a separate piece of hair. It's the same curvature that's going into this curve here. So you have to remember where your hair strands, hair lines are. Now with this being a shorter section, it does make it a little bit more difficult to flick in proper motion. So you may find that you're feeling like you need to scrub and you don't. Once you get up against things, then you can just do little tiny circles and fill that area in. Like that. Just filling in the darker areas. Like I said, it's a little bit more difficult when you get into these smaller areas, so to get that hairline look. So you may need to have some patience just to get that look that you want. go in the line of the hair. Alright, so there's some of our black. I'm going to go into it with this blue. This is the indanthrene, whatever. This is number 247. I'm just going in and I'm filling in lighter areas. And once again, like I said, it's really difficult to get the hair look in these smaller spaces. So that's why I go over it with the lighter colors and then the black, and then go over the black with some blues, and then go over it again with the black, is just to get those all those areas having the right color formations. Now once again with the indigo, and I'm just filling this in a little bit around the bubbles, so around the little things that are in her hair. I know this is probably really boring. Boring, boring, boring. And then I'm just going to go back through with that black. Make sure I get all of her hair follicles. And I'm going to turn you a little bit because I need to get closer to this. I need to see where it is. Once again, like I said, I'm just going over top of those areas a little bit tighter with a little bit more color to put that shadow in as well. Does help with the look. Alright. I'm just going to darken this part here so that it can be seen following that line. And go back in here. and blend it in. All right. I'm telling you though, this the way this black pencil is dissolving under the pressure. Might as well have used the Prisma. I wasn't going to use the Prisma because it quite literally would smoosh way too much and I wouldn't get the desired effect that I want. All right. I'm just putting in the hair behind here. Okay, so I'm going to switch back over. There we go. So that is what we have so far. Now, like I said, if you do decide that you want to blend this, you can definitely blend it. Just remember when you're using your blender stick to go in the direction of the hair. Don't go up and down, back and forth. You know, try to blend in the direction of your hair. That sort of thing. So that you maintain those strands. Otherwise, you're going to end up eliminating them. And what's the point of putting them in if we're going to eliminate them? So the only exception to that that I do is I do go and follow the shadowing object down a little bit, really close to the object, just to get that as dark as possible there. And it's a lot easier to do that when you get to these smaller areas. So as you can see, it does blend nicely together. Just make sure that you go in the direction that your hair is moving so you don't blend out that line from the hair itself. The black, because I missed a couple hairs. Now, once again, I'm getting up close to that object there, so I'm just scrubbing a little bit harder on that. Just to give it the shine of that object and to get close. So you can definitely blend. Just make sure that you blend in a direction that is going to be conducive to keeping the highlights and the hair strands separate. So you can definitely see where those hair strands are. Like that. And I will continue and finish off her hair. And then next week when we come in, we'll be looking at how to do some of these baubles in her hair. I want to do this entire picture and complete the hashtag for Amazon Tammy of Japan in July, Color Japan in July. So I would like to finish this, and I would like to be able to teach you things along the way while I do so. Especially with different types of pencils. So I will be moving on after I finish the hair. The only ones I'm going to be doing the hair that are not Prismas is the hair. The rest I will try to do in Prismas. So I think she's looking pretty nice. I did do part of her kimono because I wanted to see how that blue would look. So, and that is 3 different Prisma blues. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful, at least entertaining to watch me doing it. Like I said, this is a technique that I did learn from Colorfully Optimistic, I do believe is her name, Corey. And hopefully I have done it a little bit of justice. I may have done it wrong in a couple of areas, but I think she's looking okay so far. Until next time, of course, remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you're not already a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. And of course, always leave me comments on different things that you want to see going on. So if you have some things for Tips and Tricks Tuesday in Colored Pencils 101 that you want to see done that hasn't been done already, please leave me a comment in the About section below, or in the description, in the comment section below, I should say. Or if you want to leave me a more in-depth request, send me an email. Of course, the email address is on the About section for the channel, as well as in the description below the videos. I always enjoy your suggestions, and I do try to implement them into the channel as quickly as I can. Sometimes it takes a little longer due to planning and that sort of thing. Alright guys, tomorrow is going to be, of course, Work in Progress Wednesday, and tomorrow we will be working on a color, buddy color, with Pickwick Turtle, and we will be coloring this one. So we will be starting this with 4 Pickwick Turtles color along, I guess it is, buddy color. And of course I will try to get this done for her before the end of the month, and we can display them as quickly as possible because she's so cute. I just love Selena Finish's stuff. This is from Fedorables from Selena Finish. So that is what we will be doing tomorrow. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, remember always to have a fantastic day, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.